also just like going through the gates as they occur throughout the year because they are laid out in a specific sequence. It doesn't just go like 1 through 64, it
No,
jumps
jumps all over the
around.
place.
And that was laid out by the voice when Ra
Mhm.
received the information. And so there is a specific reason for it. So we're just exploring it. And I know everybody's curious about the gates. And so this is a way to just kind of get that information a little bit at a time and, just see how it shows up for you. Human design reveals who you are energetically and who you came here to be. I'm Dana, human design specialist.
And I'm Haley, the human design newbie. Listen in as we explore how leaning into your authentic self is your ultimate path to success. Welcome to the Human Design Hive Podcast. Let's get into it.
Hello, Haley. How you doing?
Hi.
Hi. Every time I do that, you look surprised because you're always
Because
like, how are we starting this thing?
you never sound all that sure, and then I laugh a little bit.
Well, because we're usually chatting before we have to actually officially start. And so it's just like, hi there. Seems
Oh,
always
hi.
weird to say hello. But, anyways, good to see you again. Here we are on another episode of the podcast, moving towards our next 100 episodes, I hope. And so, in today's episode, we're going to be looking at the gates for April because it's right around the corner. When you guys hear this episode, it is not quite April yet, but it will be soon. And so we'll get into that in a minute. It's a little series we've been doing. We love a series, don't we?
Yes. Love a
You like the
series.
order of it, knowing what's
Yes.
coming next, knowing what to look forward to. But first, I wanted to take the opportunity at the beginning, while I have everybody's attention, to just remind everybody out there that's listening that this is a podcast for those of you who are really interested in human design and learning more about human design. And we're really excited that everybody's here for it. But I also want to remind you that if you're curious about going beyond just knowing the system itself and all the intricate parts, but how it actually applies to you, and you want to book a reading, I am available for readings. I do one-on-one readings at a foundational level. If you're just getting into human design and you want to know, like, okay, I know my type, strategy, authority, like, what do I do with all that? What does that really mean? We can do foundational. If you're a little more advanced, you've been listening for a while or really digging into it, I do readings where we can get very specific. I also do relationship readings. You name it, we can do it. Or we can do a recorded reading where you send me your questions and I'll answer them and send you a video response. I'm also working on a few new offerings. One of them is going to be, I haven't launched it yet. It's still, the pieces are coming together. It's going to be a little introductory offer. It's going to be low cost. I'm going to start doing some intuitive email readings
Oh,
where
okay.
you will send me your information. It'll really just be like a picture of you, your birth date, and a couple questions, and I will answer them in email only. There's not going to be any kind of video format there because I have been playing around with that. I think I've mentioned it a few times, deepening my connection to my intuition and using that and tapping into it, because I have come to realize that I do it a lot when I'm in readings. I am getting more information than what the chart is actually telling me. So connecting to other people's guides, getting messages for them. And so very soon I will have that offering up and might even be doing some live readings on Instagram. So
Ooh.
stay tuned for that. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that out there, that even though we love giving away the information, we're also here to help go a little bit deeper and love to work with you. And there's that. So, Haley,
Yes, I'm here.
April.
Yes.
It's
April.
coming.
Spring.
Bring it on. And it's funny, I keep looking over here at my handwritten notebook where I have literally all the scribbles, and yet I have on my screen the same information where I made it nice and neat and tidy
Mm-hmm.
as far as dates and gates and all the things. But
Mm-hmm.
I'll make sure I get the dates right. So before I get into the actual
Uh-huh.
gates, let's frame this at what this series is like and what's it
Oh,
about.
okay.
You do some talking. What do we
Oh,
do in these gates
oh
episodes,
God.
Haley?
Okay, so we go through what gates the sun is going to transit through in the month. So we're looking at the April gates, as you said. So every gate that the sun goes through in April,
How
and we
many
kind of
how
we'll
often
have
does that occur?
uh roughly every 6 days.
Very good.
Yes, yes, yes.
I want to give you a win.
um, yes. And so we just kind of look at what in general everyone will be experiencing, how it might come about for people that don't normally have that energy defined, just kind of giving ourselves another lens to look at the world through.
Very good. Yes, and it's also an opportunity, I think, to get familiar with the energies of these gates because, as you said, the sun, everything's moving in the cosmos, right?
Mhm.
Things are always, there are cycles, but things are always moving. And so the sun will go through all 64 gates in 1 year. And so, like you said, that takes roughly 6 days to move through each gate. And that means that everybody is experiencing those energies, right? So there's going to be
Mhm.
some collective and global situation themes, but also the energy is more felt in your chart. You can get more familiar with it. But I also just like going through the gates as they occur throughout the year because they are laid out in a specific sequence. It doesn't just go like 1 through 64, it
No,
jumps
jumps all over the
around.
place.
And that was laid out by the voice when Ra
Mhm.
received the information. And so there is a specific reason for it. So we're just exploring it. And I know everybody's curious about the gates. And so this is a way to just kind of get that information a little bit at a time and just see how it shows up for you. And hopefully, can give you a little bit more familiarity with those energies, especially when you're looking at your own chart and you're trying to put all the pieces together. Hopefully, you can remember that. And also on Instagram, I'm also every day, every time it moves into a new gate. So every 6 days, there's a post
Mhm.
that has kind of an info carousel slides of a lot of the same information. So there's that. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So at the beginning of April, at the time when people will be hearing this, will not be quite April yet. We're going to give you a little head start. Okay.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
when this is going to be published, it's going to be the last few days of March. So everybody's going to be in that effect of Gate 21. So if you want to go back and listen to that, you can see the March Gates episode.
Yeah.
Just zip to the end and you can get familiar with what's happening right now if you are listening to it live time.
Wow.
Or people like who listens at the same time. We're just give us the information. Okay, whatever. Okay, getting a little too detailed there for me. So we
Yes.
go into a new gate on April 4th.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to be moving into gate 51 on
Mm.
April 4th.
Okay.
So everybody go, ooh, 51. What do you know about gate 51? Anything?
Is it in the spleen?
No.
I don't know. Is it in the root?
No.
Okay.
And next. No. No, gate 51 is in the will center.
Oh, okay.
And it's in the I Ching, it is known as the arousing.
Okay.
In traditional, it's the gate of shock.
Oh.
And in quantum, it's the gate of initiation.
Ah,
And
yeah.
so, as I said, it's
Okay.
in the will center, it's reaching towards the G center.
Mm-hmm.
And this is that channel that they create is called the channel of initiation.
Mm.
So, this is one of those gates in the system that gets kind of a bad rap. I mean, it's called the
Yeah.
gate of shock, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, it's true. It's true to its name. I
Yeah.
just sent you a
Uh-huh.
text the other day about a friend of our family that had passed away back in November. It was a friend of my, your dad's,
Hmm.
and he was an older gentleman. He was 78 when he passed away. I was surprised he was that old. But anyway, so we're holding a memorial for him this Saturday, and I finally saw his birth time and date, not the time, but the date. Like I knew where he was born now and his
Hmm.
information. So
Birth
I
date.
immediately went and ran his chart, and I knew it. I knew it when I saw. I didn't even realize because I hadn't done these gates yet. I wasn't putting the two together. But
Mm.
his sun gate was the gate of shock.
Yes.
And to say the least, this man had the ability to shock people all the time.
Yeah. I was
All the
never
time.
really sure what the interaction was going to be with him.
Nobody was. He often said very shocking things, not
Uh-huh.
in always the best way. Now, and this energy, though, there are themes here, on the high side of it, it is about this. It's reaching towards gate 25, which is the love of spirit of the self. And so it's meant to be this energizing force in a way that helps initiate people into a connection to something higher
Is
of.
it in the individualistic circuitry?
Yes, it is. It is individual. It's actually part of the centering circuit. So
Okay.
it is very individual. So what I was saying was that it is that connection there, that channel of connecting the will and the desire, which is the very materialistic.
Hmm.
The will center is very much, it's about the actual human form in the material world, right? A
Hmm.
lot of that energy, because a lot of those gates are tribal, but this one is saying no. It is showing us that for whatever it is that you are here and gaining, you're connected to something higher than
Hmm.
yourself. It's your little self connected to your big self kind of thing. It's being connected to source and spirit. So there is these higher themes of initiating others into like awakening, like a spiritual
Hmm.
awakening. And quite
Okay.
often that takes a shock.
Yeah.
It can. And if you have this energy in your chart, it is also things may throughout the course of your life occur in a shake up kind of fashion, shocking kind of fashion. Things might happen like that because
Hmm.
you're someone who is, if you're carrying this energy, you are someone who is capable of weathering those
Hmm.
shocks. Like you're built for it.
Right.
But on the low side, there is a lot of like that
It's like on
energy
the
of
low
shock.
side, it's like a viper, like it's gonna reach out
Yeah,
and bite
there's
you.
yeah, and it's also can be kind of agitated, a little bit competitive, can kind of, yeah, like you said, kind of strike out a little or strike out. A little bit. um but really what it gate 51 does, it does encourage individuals to really embrace their unique qualities because it is also about individuation and understanding your place in the big picture as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so it urges people to like take bold steps and kind of strike out on a new path, driven by your strong sense of self. Because it is the will center, also is the ego center, heart
Mm-hmm.
center, whatever you want to call it. So there is a lot of that. It's about stepping out of comfort zones, embracing challenges for growth, really kind of taking the kind of meshing together like the material, the outward, the external achievements with that spiritual awakening, discovery kind of thing. So people with this energy, they have the energy because the will center is a motor. They have the
Mm-hmm.
ability to, well, let's put it this way, we all have it, but what I will say is if it's in a defined will center, it's going to be even more noticeable. It's going to be consistent. The ability to, like I said, there's competitiveness in there because it is like yourself out there in the
Mm-hmm.
world, and they have the ability to compete and endure intense experiences, and that in turn kind of influences, inspires others. It's that grit to keep going kind of thing. This also like is a example of determination, stick to itiveness, perseverance, the individual type of thing. It sounds like somebody you know, doesn't it?
Yeah, just a little bit.
It's your husband. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's a little driven. Yeah.
a little
It's different than
competitive.
the other gates we talked about before, which is he also has, which is gate of ambition. Gate 53 is like starting things, but this is that personal drive to endure and can keep at it. But it also has this like sense of adventure and self-discovery. Like I said, urging you to step out of your comfort zone, to try something different. It gives you the will and the endurance, the ability, like I said, to do that. But very, very individual experience there. So there's a theme here, you're just talking about, does this sound like anybody but there is this theme of love for life itself, and that constant competition that comes with this drive of wanting to almost master and dominate the material world. Also sounds pretty apt description.
Yeah,
Which is funny because this is your husband's unconscious earth, right? So it's running in the background, and he may not see himself that way, like in that light, because it's on the unconscious side, but we can easily see that in him. Like he wouldn't, it's just natural to him. He doesn't feel that this is any different than anybody else. Like it doesn't, it's so natural to him, his drive to I guess I would say Presley doesn't always see himself as in competition with other people, does he?
Well, on the contrary of that, he
Yes.
has said to me multiple times that I'm trying to phrase it how he would say it, but to the extent of no one is going to be better at something than he is. Like if it's something that he wants to do and be, like no one's going to be better at it than he is. Like
But
that's his
that's not
mentality with
like,
things.
but that's not, in my opinion, in direct competition with someone else. That's almost like he's competitive with himself. Like it's his own drive that I will be the best at it. And it's so innate in him. And that does, it pushes him forward, but it also, since it's an unconscious earth, it's also kind of it's one of those things that he's here to also it's what am I call it? What am I trying to say? It's like one of the
Grounding.
Yeah, it's grounding, but it's also like his ultimate lesson in, I'm drawing on my Gene Keys experience and the life purpose thing, the golden path it calls it, is like his mission revolves around this, in the sense that what he learns here is also like one of those main things that he is here to kind of model an example to other people. And he, ambition, not ambition, this initiating this competitive striving to be the best type of thing can go both ways. And I think competition in some lights is seen in a bad way. Like it's something that we shouldn't be competing against each other. It's like when you think about the push, a couple years ago, it's like everybody got a trophy just for, showing up
Participation,
kind of thing. The participant, I know he does not like that.
Oh gosh, no.
But I mean, we all should be prodded along a little bit. We should be striving to make ourselves better. And especially in the sense in this gate, it's because it's showing us that this is how it, connecting us to source. It reminds us that we are here in this material world, in these bodies. We are separate individual beings that are all in service to a higher purpose. However, we all need to do our part and do the best at it as well. And so there's a lot of that energy there. And this one is, you are capable, as long as you are pointing in the right direction and you are realizing your part in the plan, that, or the puzzle, whatever you want to call it, that you can weather the storm if you have this energy. I mean, we all can, but if this is part of your energy signature, if this is part of your design, you're
Mhm.
more uniquely capable of doing that. And as you do that, it inspires those around you and also helps them find their own determination and strength. So it's a hard one to get through. It's only the first one, so we're going to move on. But so really, just as we transit through these gates, to be, contemplating some of those things about, well, what has some of these times in your life when maybe something shocked you or
Mhm.
happened to you, what was your reaction? How did you come out of that? How did you
Mhm.
Was it on the high side or the low side? Did it knock you down? Have you not gotten back up? Perhaps you're going through it now. This is the kind of things to look at, and to see how some of these shocking events in your life could be these moments that really help you, like, dig in and find your grit and your determination and keep
Mhm.
going, right? Or, like, if you have a goal, which, at this time of the month, we're talking about, this is still the quarter of initiation. And obviously this is a channel of initiation. It's like,
Yeah.
are you going to have the the striving, the energy to go, the courage to keep going even when things get rough and things aren't always going to be easy, that kind of thing. So
Mhm.
also thinking about the balance between individual initiative and the need for spiritual guidance and being attuned to something that's also outside of yourself, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. So
Mhm.
there we go. So moving on. All right. On April 10th this year,
Mhm.
this year.
Okay.
So let me point this out, because April 10th was actually when the friend of our family was born. It was April 10th. He's a line
Oh.
6. And I was looking, I mean, we didn't have his birth time, but I was birth time range. I could see again in his chart, he was a line 6, whether he was a 6-2 or 6-3. I think he was a 6-2 based on some other placements and knowing his
Mhm.
personality. But yes, during that, so when this gate is shifting over into the next gate, it says in the ephemeris it's going to be on April 10th. However, it may be that's April 10th at like 12, like right at 12. I don't, the ephemeris that I use doesn't have the exact pinpointed moment it shifts over. It just says
Mm.
on this day at 12 p.m. or whatever, or 12 a.m., it's going to be moved into this gate. So it could be a couple hours before,
Mhm.
in the early morning or late hours of April 9th, that it moves into the next gate. So I'm just, or whatever. I don't have the exact time.
Okay. We haven't done the exact time in other month
I know, but
gates,
I
so.
see other people out there doing stuff with transits, and they have it at different times than what I have it. So I'm just giving you the broad overview of it's going to be these 6 days. And
Mm.
so, anyways, because I just noticed it now when I said on April 10th we're going to move into gate 42, but
Mhm.
I know that John's birthday was actually April 10th. So,
Well, there
anyways,
was also we had a leap year this year, so we have that extra day in there.
oh, look at you bringing out the wisdom. Anyways, I guess that would.
Well, it's gonna probably change all the time when you have that extra day
Yeah,
every 4
you're
years.
right. You're right. Isn't that crazy that we just have an extra day?
Because when they made the calendars, they're like, "Fuck, we didn't count right."
Oh shit.
I'm like, "What
How
happened to this
about
month?"
how about just every 4 years we just slip another one in there? Nobody will ever notice.
First of all, why is it the second month standard only has 28 days? Why, where did they start making the calendar that they got to February and they're like, guys, we fucked up.
I know every other month has at least 2 more days in it.
Guys, what did we do?
Yeah. Well, I mean, who made the Gregorian calendar. It was the
The
church,
the
wasn't it?
Gregors, I don't know.
The Gregors. They were not Scottish. Anyways, okay. Okay, so April 10th, the gate or the sun is moving into gate 42,
Okay.
which in the I Ching is called increase. Traditional is the gate of growth. And in quantum, it is called the gate of conclusion.
Mm.
So it is in the sacral center. It's connected to gate 53 through the channel of maturation. And this one, that channel in particular, is all about beginnings and endings. 53 is about beginnings. 42 is about endings, conclusion,
Is
it's about sight.
53 in the root?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So it's about cycles, completing cycles. So there's a lot of themes here in this gate in particular about knowing the right time to bring things to conclusion or to finish things, completion, celebration, that type of thing. But then there's also shadow sides of this. Some of the themes are around feeling stuck or kind of, if you have 42 and you don't have 53, it's very hard maybe to get things started. You always feel like you're trying to wrap things up, but nothing ever really seems to get off the ground. You don't have that initiating energy there. And so this gate here in gate 42, there's a lot of themes here around persistence and dedication that are crucial for bringing things to completion. Like you have to see it through. And so like I said, this channel around cycles, this is someone, if you have that full channel, who is really able to get things into motion and bring it to a conclusion and knows when something is done, right? So this is really great if you have this as a hanging gate. You're probably always looking for that opposite end because it just helps keep that energy flowing. Otherwise, it can be rather frustrating to have one without the other.
Yeah.
So it's also about, there's themes here about learning from past experiences because it is a collective gate, and it is the completion, that channel there, or the starting, the initiation of that abstract circuitry.
Okay.
So like I said, there is experience, past experience. If you think about cycles, beginnings and endings, it's like, what do you learn? How do you know you're done? Well, you know from past experiences what you bring forward. And so those cycles of conclusion, starting, conclusion. So the high or optimal or higher expression of this energy is having the ability to respond to kind of being inserted. This is somebody that you could just put them in any situation if they're in carrying this energy and they have this higher vibe way of expressing it. They're able to really just go into any situation, an event, and be able to be that person that can help bring the energy together to understand how to bring the project or whatever it is to completion, to know like how to wrap it up, kind of thing. It reminds me just now, I just had the image of like, and this is probably not a great image, but it reminds me of the big tankers when they come into port and they're these really big ships, but maybe it's a tricky port and it's got shallow spots or whatever. They have to get the pilot on board. He's called, do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't
You've
think
never
so.
heard this?
No. I
So
thought you were going to talk about tugboats.
no, it's kind of related, but not really. So yeah, tugboat can kind of help. No, the pilot is someone who is highly specialized for their particular port, and they take them out to the giant ship, and he climbs up the rope. I mean, literally, if you ever watch some of these things, they're on these giant tankers or even cruise ships, and the pilot climbs on and takes over for the captain
To guide it into that port.
Yes, he brings it to completion because he knows,
Damn,
like,
son.
I know. They get paid really well too, because it can be very tricky. Like he knows where everything is and he
And
knows
those
what
are
needs to be
huge
done.
boats he's trying to drive in.
They're ships, Haley. They're not boats. And yeah, so that's the image that just came to us. So maybe it is apropos, but it is someone that has that like ability to know what to do.
You can tell that neither one of us have that because we never quite know how to wrap up the episode.
We don't know how to start or end it. You're right. We don't have any of that. Oh my God. So as I said, an unbalanced expression on the other end of it, this is someone that feels really kind of bad about themselves because they're not able to like get things off the ground and get things started. They might not have the initiating energy. I can relate to that. As we just said, trying to get this podcast off the ground every week. And they may fall into avoidance patterns of putting things off that needs to be completed. They're kind of not really living up to that energy. Can lead to a lot of like overwhelm and kind of analysis paralysis, a lot of these things that we don't really want to, or feeling so much pressure to get something brought to completion. It might be brought to completion prematurely. It's not quite ready yet. So it's really being in tune. It is a sacral gate. So you've got to use that sacral response and knowing when it's time, when the time is right to bring something to conclusion. So, it's a timing gate. I mean, it's a sacral gate. So it's definitely going to be related to timing. And so in that vein about being sacral, it's about trusting that response that it will lead you to where you need to be when you need to be there in order to complete that energy there. So there's that.
Okay.
So also I want to say that something to consider here is also knowing, in order to be ready for that pulse of energy and that ready for something new to start, it also tells us that you need to kind of make sure your loose ends are tied up and you have to have things completed in order to bring new things in. It's kind of clearing up old energy to bring in new energy.
Because it's not going to give you something new if you have these other things that are still using your energy.
Well, because it's gonna fracture your energy. It's gonna take away your focus or whatever. So you've got to make sure that you don't have any loose ends out there that need to be tidied up. And as I said, where this quarter of initiation, this is towards the end of the quarter of initiation. We're going to be wrapping this up in April. So this is also telling us, before we move on to the next stage of actually building things and doing things, is there anything left undone that we need to pay attention to?
Let's complete some things.
Let's complete the things. That's right. So as that is, the energy being felt around the world, there's going to be a lot of those themes around that, maybe bringing things to completion, what's left undone, what needs to be tidied up. I mean, let's talk about what do people do? Spring cleaning, that kind of thing, of like looking around, seeing what needs to be gotten rid of, taken care of, that kind of thing.
Cleaned up, closed out.
Yeah. At the end of any kind of fiscal years in the business world.
Oh, tax. You got to have your taxes done by April 15th.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure the voice was considering the U.S. income
US
tax
IRS.
deadline when it said, you got to put this one here because it's tax time.
Woo.
Ooh. All right. Well, moving on. Moving on. Okay. So then on the 16th of April, we're going to be moving into another. These are some hard-hitting gates that I don't have a lot of familiarity with, I'll tell you. It's been challenging. However, the next gate we're moving into is gate 3, also sacral gate. In the I Ching, it's called difficulty at the beginning. Traditional is called ordering, gate of ordering, and not like DoorDash. Like putting things in order, right? And then in quantum human design is called the gate of innovation.
Ooh.
Now, this is the channel that this gate is the 60 in the root, reaching up to the 3 in the sacral. This is mutative energy. It's that mutative pulse of energy. That's what we're talking about here. It is the pressure, the themes here, the pressure to differentiate, because it's individual. It's mutative. It's like known for like weirdness because it's mutative. It's individual. It's those are themes there anyhow. In some other like shadow themes, there's some controlling, maybe a little bit of chaos in there occasionally, because it's about starting something new. And a lot of time, and this is the energy that just wants to do things new, wants to do things different, wants to bring something in that maybe is not like real thought out. Yeah. It's if you have
half an idea.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about this channel a lot. The 60 is the gate of limitation. It's about more traditional viewpoints, more traditional way of doing things, kind of that bedrock. And this is the like, oh, let's do it all different. Let's do something new. Let's do something completely different. And I've got an idea. And as we said, there's got to be a balance there, right? And so this is really about, I would say, in this one, there's a little bit of a restless energy there. And so really the main theme here is the function, I should say. It says in traditional human design, the function of this gate is to be able to kind of transcend that confusion and that chaos and be able to establish order so that something new and potentially viable can come in and take hold. There is these new ideas, but it's being able to like put a little bit. Yeah. Like I said, there's a lot of individual knowing, personal innovation, and the potential for making a very significant contribution. But it is a sacral gate, so it is going to be about right timing, knowing when the time is right to bring in that new idea or to bring in that different way of doing things. Since it's from the root, it's going to be an on-off pulse. It's not always going to be there, right?
Yep.
Which is very frustrating.
Yeah.
And so if you try to push or force and not wait for the right time, whatever it is you bring forth might not take hold and might not endure because it wasn't responded to at the right time. Right. So that is a big lesson here with this gate, is to learn to trust in that divine timing, to be ready for when that pulse is there, right? To kind of be clear on, if you think about limitation is the 60. The other end of that gate is knowing, they say, knowing your limitations, knowing how far to push the boundaries, knowing what to keep, what to let go of, that kind of thing. And so this helps bring that more into focus in a way, and helps that energy start continuing up, because then it goes up to the 14-2, which is the driver, which is, it gets that pulse of energy to bring something new, responding to the right opportunity at the right time to gain some clarity. And then it goes, that line of energy goes up to gate 14 and the 2, which that is the gathering the resources, material resources, energy resources, to direct the individual in the direction they want to go, which is of best service, can create resources for them, but also can enrich and empower those around them as well. So this is really powerful individual energy here. This is your Aunt Nancy's sun gate. Nancy, if you're listening, hi.
Hi, Nancy.
She may listen occasionally. She's too busy to listen anymore, I think.
Well, no, she always manages to listen to the ones we talk about her.
Yeah, so she'll hear this one.
Yeah.
And I often think about her and trying to understand this energy more, because I know her so well. And she always, not always, but when things have worked out for her, she's had the idea for a while. Like she usually can start feeling, she's a 4-1 also. So she's done her research. She's patiently waited her time. She never forces a change, really. She's a
Yeah.
very patient person, I think. She doesn't feel patient. She
Mm-hmm.
feels rather impatient. But I'm just considering other things like when she's moved, they've moved from Ohio all the way down to Puerto Rico, or even when they bought their place in Puerto Rico, like she kind of just knew when the right time was to act.
Mm-hmm.
Something inside of her is like, okay, now. And so if she was laying that groundwork and making sure she had all of her ducks in a row, she knew, what to do. So also, these people, like I said, bringing these people have an innate ability to bring clarity out of confusion, give structure to the chaos. I think she definitely does that in her environment, in her work environment, in her job. I mean, I've seen it. She is kind of, she's, like I said, she's a 4-1, so she's that kind of foundational person anyhow, and this is really part of her signature there. So really it's like taking that creative pulse of energy through that individual circuitry, which can be very powerful, and giving it a little bit of clarity of where it needs to go and what needs to be in place to bring something new forward. So
Yeah.
that's what we're like I guess this is getting towards the end of that
It is
quarter of
heavy.
initiation. Yeah, where we're
Getting
ready
there.
to, when we get to that next quarter, it's going to be about building and creating the things, right? And this is about getting ready. And so
Honing it in.
So just think about times like maybe when you maybe have had that creative idea or something that you could feel bubbling, but you didn't quite share it. When did you know it was the right time to kind of bring that energy forth, to put it into motion? Like what kind of indicators you had. You could also think about collectively, there's going to be this energy of wanting to kind of bring sense to what's happening, what's going on. We all know that things have to change, but at the same time, how are we going to bring the structure to the kind of things that we collectively are dealing with right now of our world as it is?
It needs a little ordering.
Yeah. So anyways, that's gate 3. Are we good on that one? Do you feel all right with
Yeah.
that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. Next one. It's interesting because I have had people close to me for just about every gate to relate to in this month, which I didn't realize any of that many people born in April. But okay, so the next one on on April 22nd, we're going to be moving into gate 27, which
27.
just has a lovely energy to it. So gate 27 is in the I Ching is called nourishment.
Okay.
In traditional human design, it is the gate of caring, not Karen, caring. And in quantum human design, she calls it accountability.
Okay.
This gate forms a channel with gate 50.
Okay.
Gate 50 is in the spleen. Gate 27 is in the sacral.
Another sacral gate here.
Yeah, you notice in those sacral gates. So it's tribal energy. There's 2 gates within the tribal circuit called the defense circuit. It's the 59-6 on the other side of the sacral and the 27-50.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember what the
yes,
correlation there is?
They're like kind of the yin and the yang, however you pronounce it, but it's like the feminine, the little bit more feminine and a little bit more masculine energy there, the mother and the father.
That's right. Yeah, the 59-6 is about actual like mating, breaking down the bonds, the barriers, and the more male energy of like creating. It's the fertility, it's the sexuality, it's all those things of creating life. And then the other side of it here is having the energy to bring, I love this, is how it helps shape in my, the genetic imperative of every species is to have their genes, their DNA, make it at least through, what does it say, like one more generation, so they know that their DNA keeps going, basically.
Yes, the
So
content of the species.
exactly. And so in order to do that, it needs this energy here that's contained in gate 27, the sacral gate, that is this gate of nourishment and of caring. It is having the ability to care for the weak, the sick, the young, right? It's the mother energy, like you said, because You can create the family, but this is the energy that knows how to protect and care
And
for
take
it.
care of. Yeah.
Obviously, the channel is called preservation. I don't know if I mentioned that. Did I say that? It's the trim.
We didn't get there.
Yeah,
You
it's
didn't say the
called,
name yet.
yeah, the channel 2750 connection there's called preservation. And so it is really like, if you think about the figure of like Mother Teresa of the ultimate, we talk about someone who just gave her life and was dedicated to making sure that those who could not take care of themselves were taken care of, right? Now, a lot of women are very familiar with this energy. It is the mother energy. And what I always point out to people who have this gate, especially if they are women, especially if they don't have the 50 on the other end, is to make sure that they're taking care of themselves first. It is the whole, like, you cannot give from an empty cup.
Right.
Right. You cannot feed your family if you yourself are starving. There's nothing, you can't do it. So there's really a stressing here of like healthy boundaries to avoid sacrificing your own well-being for those that you care for. But then also, again, it is having the energy to care for others is important. And in a balanced form, this is someone who is not giving from an empty cup. It is someone who is fully taking care of themselves. They're not others taking care of them. They need to take care of themselves in order to then take care of their families, their communities. Also, this gate can have the tendency to overcare. This could be kind of like that helicopter mom. I hate to say it's just a mom. There's other, but let's face it, most people listening, they're women. I know they're mostly women.
Yeah.
But it's that doing too much for your children. It's overcaring in the sense that you identify so deeply with being able to like care for and take care of your children that you never quite let them fail or let them fall or let them learn their own lessons. You're always trying to do for them. And I know a lot of people, women, that think that this is the ultimate like way to mother, is to like always do everything for your kids. Where do you think I fall on that, Haley?
Well,
I love
after
you
I told you
deeply.
I didn't like your tuna, I didn't eat your tuna sandwiches, you said you make your own lunch. To be fair, I had been wasting food for a long while.
Yeah, I didn't know. But you know what? I have the other end of this channel. I have the 50 without the 27. So I'm
Okay, I
like,
thought you had some of this.
yeah, I know how to say no. I mean, it is harder with my family, but at the same time, I'm not going to like give too much that I don't have enough to take care of myself. I do, we won't get into me. So really, it's finding that balance between caring for yourself, caring for others. And so someone with this energy, you are very compassionate, you are very caring. I mean, it's right there in the name. You know how to nourish people. I love this. I love this energy. You know who has this as their sun gate?
Who?
My dear friend Susan.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's Susan.
I have seen this energy in full force. Like I said, when I went to her house with our friend, the whole time we were there, I'd never been to her house. I was staying there for a night, and she was just fluttering around the whole time, just like, oh, you need this. Oh, you need more. Do you need more champagne in your glass? Oh, do you need more? Oh, here's some more food. Like, just like, oh, she was bringing out. She had all these like muscle massagers and put your
Oh.
feet up on this. And she said to our other friend, oh, here, put this robe on. Like, she was like totally just like, oh, all over us. And I felt so guilty. I was like, why are you doing so much? But she loved it. She loved it. She does not have the full channel. So I do remind her to, take care of
Care
yourself.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Prioritize. But anyways, so
And
yes.
she
So
does
just
that
make
too.
sure. Yeah. Yeah. So also, for looking at globally, what a great time. Everybody should be kind of taking care of themselves, taking care of each other. It
warm
feels
and
so
fuzzy
good.
feeling.
I
Like
know.
you just talk about it and I feel all warm and
I
fuzzy.
know. It's wonderful. It's nice. But it's also reminding us that we need to keep that in mind as we're bringing new things into this world, how we're going to nourish it, how we're going to take care of it, but
Mhm.
also how is it going to fit into your own well-being and making sure you take care of yourself. Again, there has to be a point to what you're doing and how you're serving, but to take care of others and take care of yourself as well. So
Yeah,
that's such a lovely gate.
it's so good. Need a lot more nurturing and caring and compassion in the world.
Yeah, on the high side, yeah. On the low side of this is codependency, guilt, martyrdom. Oh,
Oh
that's
God.
not so good. That's not so good.
Let's
So
stay on the high
if you
side.
find yourself during that time frame sliding into those behaviors, maybe take a step back and go, "Oh, maybe
Take
I'm
care of
not taking
yourself.
care of myself."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you should just go take a nap. Book that spa day. I give
Ooh.
everybody permission on April 22nd for the next 6 days. Give yourself permission. If you need that spa day, let's do it. Let's just go do it.
Oh,
You
sounds so
you have
nice.
permission. I know. I I know. All right. So let's see. Am I on the last one yet? Yes, the last one is gate 24. We're going to be moving into gate 24 on April 27th.
Ooh.
Yes. So gate 24 is in the I Ching referred to as returning.
Okay.
It's in traditional the gate of rationalization, and in quantum it's called the gate of blessings.
Okay.
It is in the ajna. It's ajna gate,
Oh.
and it's connected to gate 61 in the head through the channel of awareness.
Okay. So
These
is
mhm.
this is the end of April and you said that April was the end of the quarter, so is this the last gate in the quarter?
Yes, so this is the last gate in the quarter of initiation.
Okay.
And so this gate 24 is, like you said, it's the individual circuitry. You just said that, right?
No.
Did you use that? Oh, you
No.
said
And
initiation. Sorry.
is it 40? It's what number are we?
24?
What gate are we in?
24? Did I just
Okay.
say that?
I think. Did you
I
say
did.
43? Is that what it connects to?
No, no, it does not connect. 61, it connects to the head.
61. Okay.
Yes, so it's 61, 24, then it's 43, 23, moving down that
Okay.
energy line. Yeah, individual line. Um,
Okay.
yes, so there's, since it's individual, it's that knowing stream, it's that knowingness thought stream that comes through from the head center. And so what's really associated here a lot of times is those aha realizations that occur,
Mm. Okay.
because it's always trying to figure out why. And it will mull something over and over and over and over and over again until it finally is like, ah, okay. And then it starts to make sense of whatever this knowingness is coming in. It's trying to bring it into rational form, rationalization, right? It's trying to bring it down through the ajna to be able to then bring this knowingness out into the world through that gate 23 and making sense of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but in this stage of the game, it's really, its function is to take that unique inspiration that comes through that 61 and turn it into a rational concept, which can
Mm.
then eventually be communicated to others, like I said. And it'll do that over and over again. It is the kind of that breakthrough aha. I think I said it's like the Sherlock Holmes or the whatever is like, I suddenly have it. It's Einstein coming up with the, what is it, the theory of relativity. He was like he
Mm-hmm.
was on a boat or something in a shower. He's just floating around,
Mm-hmm.
nothing was happening, and then it just drops in, right? So it's mulling a problem, mulling not a problem. It is mulling a concept, let's
Idea.
say. Mm-hmm. An
When you say
inspiration.
that, I don't know. I think of a rock tumbler. It's like removing the excess, and then you get to the shiny, pretty new thing.
Yeah. Well, it says that it's like pondering a thought that it is inspiring, considers inspiring, but it can't, it like keeps coming back to it. The mind wants to keep coming back to this idea because it can't like prove it through experience to make sense of it because it's not collective. It's not logical, right? So it can't be like deduced and broken down. It is knowingness. And so it has to like find its way into finding a way that it can then eventually bring it into some kind of, like I said, concept so that it can be communicated to those around you. And so there's a lot of like letting go in this. You just kind of got to let it go, right? It is, like I just said about Einstein or whatever, it is when you least expect it, the knowingness can come in, because we all know knowingness doesn't tell you when it's going to happen. It's just you'll know what you know when you need to know it, is the theme of the knowing stream of consciousness. There is like you just got to trust that you're going to know it. And you there is a lot of anxiety. It's the ajna gate, so there's its own fears in the ajna. It's that fear of ignorance, of not being able to come up with the answer or being able to explain the concept or make sense of it. Is there's a fear of, like I said, ignorance there, mental anxiety that you'll never know for certain. We all understand that. So anyways, so people who have this energy defined in their chart are somebody that just can't let something go. Like they're going to have to like keep returning to this idea until it makes sense. So you know who has this also?
Who?
Your husband.
Oh, I wasn't sure. I was like, I think that's the answer.
Yeah, he has the full channel, which is good. He
that's
has
where
the
his
ability
connection
to do it.
is.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah. And he's a line one. So it's like there is a lot of like, he's got to make sense of something. He's probably going to try. He's got the other gates too, but they're not connected, of trying to use his other faculties, use his mind to force it into coming through. But really, it's going to come through when he lets it go, when he's doing something else. You know, this is something that can't be forced. It's going to drop in on its own time.
Yeah. I have, I think, seen that happen in real time.
Probably all the time. Yeah.
But it's really interesting, him specifically, that's where his head definition comes from, because he is so fucking logical.
Yeah.
Like it's annoying to some points how
It
logical he
is.
is.
It is, but also a lot of his design is, especially his Incarnation Cross, is actually very kind of spiritually attuned, in the sense that he's got the gate of intuition, he's got that gate of shock, he's got all these other markers that are like all about timing and trust and patience and trusting things that you can't logically see, do, you know, like relying on, which he gets that to a sense. He doesn't necessarily relate it to a spiritual connection. He relates it more to, like we talked about, like the stock market, the day traders who have an instinct. Like he equates it more to instinct as a strength, instead of like intuition and timing and all the things that we're like, oh, is the universe supporting you? He's like, no, I just know when the right time is.
Yeah.
And so the journey here with this gate is to really be comfortable with navigating that uncertainty, navigating the worry that you might not ever fully grasp an idea or concept. And some of them, especially if you don't have gate 61, it may not actually come to fruition. And as we know, if you have an undefined head, but a defined ajna, if you have an undefined head, you're always looking for inspiration and always trying to answer the questions, thinking about things that don't matter, what they say in the open head. And so you could have this gate with an open head and still feel this persistent need to want to always make sense of things, but getting comfortable with knowing that it's just there for the inspiration. It's just there to ponder. Maybe the answer will come in, maybe it won't, maybe it's not for you to worry about, and just let it go. You know, I think everything shows us in the body graph over and over again. We say like, the head is just there to inspire us and give us ideas. It is not there to make any kind of freaking decisions for us. So don't even try. It will fuck you up. Disclaimer. So
Disclaimer.
so as the but with that relaxing, it brings in the blessings. It creates the space for allowing something to unexpected, something you might not have thought, something that could be completely different than what you thought the answer was. If you just step back and relax and allow for the knowingness to come through, it can bring forth the blessings through gate 24. So maybe during this time you are feeling that there is something that's been an idea that has come through, but you just can't figure it out. To maybe stop trying to figure it out. Just kind of relax, let it go, see what happens, notice what's happening around you. Trust your strategy and authority that the right thing will show up at the right time. You just got to respond, really, your strategy. When I say respond, not as in a generator respond, but using your strategy, whether you're generator, projector, whatever. And also think about, ponder, maybe there was times when you were trying to find that answer. Maybe find the thing you lost, all those things. Like, what were you doing when the answer finally came to you? Why do people get all their ideas in the shower? Like, why do things make sense in the shower? You get the answer. Or we'll always say,
you find the thing you're lost when you're not looking for it.
Yeah, that's what I always say. Well, that's what I always say too, is your dad goes around going, I can't find it. I can't find it. I'm like, well, of course you can't find it because you're sitting around going, I can't find it. Just relax and say, it's here. I'll find it. It'll show up. And then you allow things to come in. So anyway, so that's kind of it there. And if we're thinking about, this is the last gate in the quarter of initiation, just being open to possibility. You've got all these things that you've been using the mind and trying to formulate and trying to make the plan and do all the things as you move forward throughout the year.
Ends, and now you're ready to see what happens.
Yeah, and now we're going to move on to that, which will be a nice tie-in in the next gate next month. We'll see a nice flow there. So
it's anyways, that's almost like they planned it that way.
It's like some cosmic force could see it all.
Wow.
Wow. Right. Okay. So that means we're wrapping up this episode. And what does that bring us to, Haley?
Okay, I need to gather myself.
It's okay.
Okay. The Incarnation Cross of the week.
I like how you gotta close your eyes. Just do that. Yes, the Incarnation Cross of the week. So this week we have the right angle cross of planning.
Ooh.
Yeah. This involves, which we haven't touched on. What is the right angle cross then? What is it?
A right angle cross means that it has a line 1, 2, 3, or
4, 6.
4. I knew there was a 4 and not a 4, 1. 4, 6.
Correct.
Okay.
You are correct.
Yes.
Right. Those profiles. Yes, correctly. Correctly. You are correct. So the right angle cross of planning consists of gate 37 in the conscious on the right hand side of the chart in the black numbers. The conscious sun is going to be in gate 37, which is the gate of friendship. The earth is going to be in gate 40, which is aloneness.
Oh.
On the unconscious side, on the left side of the chart, you'll see gate 9 is the sun gate of focus. And then the earth is in gate 16, which is skills, which I always also refer to as enthusiasm.
So we got friendship, aloneness, details,
focus,
and enthusiasm.
Or skills, right? So
okay, let's see where this goes.
I love how you can always remember what I gave you, and I have to keep looking at it on a piece of paper. I can't remember what I'm saying.
The first few times that we did this, I would like you'd give me 2 and I'd forget by the time you got to the third one. So I'm like, I have to consciously
I
repeat them
forget
in
when
my
I
head.
take it from a spreadsheet and put it on my notes. I'm like, which one is this? What is that? So the 37 and the 40, the sun and the earth, those are in a channel together. So that connects the solar plexus to the will center.
Okay.
So if you have this as your cross, that means you're going to have a defined will center no matter what, because you're in that channel. So anyways, all right. So also another note is that when we keep talking about this shift into the new paradigm, new consciousness, whatever, in gate 20 or in 2027, we are currently in the last gasping, dying breaths of the cross of planning.
God.
It's about building structures and stuff like that. I mean, it's been the last 400 years of our existence has been exactly a lot of this energy of knowing how to build and where to focus and how to direct that energy. So, I mean, it's just a different energy. Okay. So, all right. So if you were born under the right angle cross of planning, you are here and you're here to help bring people together to work as a team, skillfully negotiating and crafting deals that everyone can agree on for a better future. You're here to embody and promote focus, continuous growth, and peace, encouraging others to adopt these virtues even when faced with challenges. You play a crucial role in helping people create strong and fair agreements, contributing to the development of peaceful and sustainable communities. You understand the importance of healing self-worth issues, recognizing that a collective sense of worthiness is essential to fostering harmony. By teaching and guiding with a kind and understanding approach, you make it easier for others to learn how to live together in peace. Your efforts are aimed at ensuring a prosperous future for communities around the world by emphasizing the value of collaboration and organized efforts.
Where are all the right angle cross of plannings at? Where are they at? We need you.
Come on out.
We need you.
They're out there. There's a lot of them. I mean, it's a 1, 2, or 3. It's a personal now, they're well, if you think about, like I said, that 3740, that is the channel of community. And it is about someone who can take care of others in the community, knows what the community needs, but also needs to make sure that the community is taking care of them. There's a lot of that energy there of I'll take care of you, you take care of me. It's community agreements. And that 40, that aloneness part, is knowing that you need to take that time to take a step back to make sure, again, that you're filling your own cup, that you have what you need. And sometimes that takes time to just you have to be alone to garner your own strength and to know what the community needs, as a leader. So it's very interesting, very powerful, very powerful cross. So I agree with you, all you cross the planets. Come on. You're out there.
No pressure,
You're
but
ready. You're ready. You're being activated. Go.
Please. We need help.
Yeah. We'll be all right. We're all going to be okay, I think. Because you, me, and everybody listening, we all care about a better place. So we're going to do our part.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. We're here to support you. So anyway, so that wraps up today's episode. Once again, we appreciate everybody for listening. Hope you found just anything, small nugget, whatever it is of value. Maybe hope you see something a little bit differently. Maybe like us. Maybe we helped you finally understand some little part of the energy of a gate. I hope so. That's always makes me happy, because a lot of times just sounds like gibberish coming out of my own mouth. So
which I always tell you it's not. It makes sense.
I know I don't hear what I'm saying half the time. So I appreciate everybody listening. And yeah, so we will catch you in the next episode. Until then, bye for now, Haley.
Bye.
You made it all the way to the end of today's episode, so you must have liked what you heard. If you did, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode, and perhaps leave us a good review. And if you know someone who wants to dig into all things human design with us, make sure you share the Human Design Hive podcast with them. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks for listening.